Literally
Hi,
every time. Hi,
welcome to Promise Resource Network. This is Love Talks.
she's Jane.
I am all day today, and that's Michael.
That's me.
That's him. That is the Michael. I am moving some things around on this little computer screen. We'll give everyone a moment to tune in. Michael and I are, we're going to settle in too. So that's a thing. Oh, there we go.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
looks good. I like when we're centered.
I know. I was trying to get it. How was your day?
My day,
Mhm.
it went by super quick.
How come?
It's been very busy at work.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to, not trying to, but keeping up with this cleanse
hmm
and the hours for the shakes and taking the pills and eating.
How's the cleanse going for you today?
How's it going for me?
Mhm.
I
We're
feel
doing a
better than
cleanse.
I have in days
Will you share why?
because I cracked this morning.
Will you
I
share
was
more on that?
I was feeling a lot of stress in my
hmm
life.
Yeah.
And I was feeling the call to eat actual calorie dense foods
hmm
because my body was under stress and I was looking for comfort and I was looking for energy. So I was like, I need to eat something substantial. I haven't eaten anything substantial in 5 or 6 days other than like cucumbers and watermelon and spinach and some avocados. And I feel that my body's just been under a lot of stress between last night and this morning. So I cracked.
Mm.
I'm proud of it. I'm
Oh,
proud. I'm proud of my decision, and
you're proud of it. Is that really?
I don't know
Like
about
you're really
proud of it,
proud
but
of
I'm
it?
okay with it.
Okay.
Like I don't regret it.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and my plan is to continue on with the cleanse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying not to crack again. We'll
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Gotcha. Hey, Mama Jane's joining. Oh my gosh.
What?
What? Welcome.
What's up, Mama Jane?
Happy that you're here. Um, it's interesting. So we're doing this cleanse, and the other night I was feeling a lot of frustration and anger. And it was just one of those days where it's like the things in the world are happening, and I was just feeling like I was feeling the frustration around it, and I was feeling anger around it. And I recognized that what I wanted to do for comfort was to go to food. Like I wanted to eat. I didn't care what it was. I just wanted to eat. And I was aware of that, so I made myself a cup of tea, which is not food, I know. Went for a walk around the block with Michael, shared with him the feelings that I was feeling around the state of the world and this and that and the other, just things that I don't agree with, that don't feel in alignment for me. And it's like, when you see a bunch of litter on the road and it just really bothers you, maybe that doesn't bother you, but it bothers me. And you feel all these ways, and I needed to get it out. And all that to say, like, I felt that feeling of like, I need to soothe my discomfort because I realized that I didn't have the tools to comfort my own discomfort. I didn't know how to relieve the stress or the frustration or the anger that I was feeling. I didn't know because my old coping mechanisms were to distract and use something to shove in my face hole. Before that, it was drugs. Before that, it was drinking. Before that, it was drugs. Before that, during all that, it was relationships. It was television. It was video games. It was all these other things. And so it's really coming to light about like coping mechanisms when I'm in discomfort. That's what this cleanse is bringing up for me. I've also realized that for two people to do a cleanse together, I think is really awesome and greatly supportive, because it would be really, I think, hard if we were doing this cleanse and Michael were eating pizza and I'm like, I'll eat more cucumbers. I think that would push me over the edge. Like, I like the support of both of us doing it. And because it brings up, um, I'm not busy eating. I'm busy feeling my feelings or being more aware. I'm more present. I'm not running around all over the place because I don't have the physical energy to do that. And when you're in relationship or in the same household, that can be like look like butting heads or too short fuses or two people feeling frustrated. Um, and if two people feel frustrated and neither have coping mechanisms or coping tools to soothe their own discomfort, then they lash out at each other. if two people are feeling frustrated and only one has healthy coping mechanisms and is breathing and trying to talk to the other one, and the other one is projecting or getting mad or yelling or not able to soothe themselves, it becomes really challenging, you know? So thanks for doing this cleanse at the same time.
Oh yeah, it's great.
I'm really happy I get done with it a few days before Michael. I also started before you, whatever.
So are you
dude.
gonna be eating foods in front of me?
I mean, I'm still gonna eat healthy. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, Big Mac. I wouldn't do that anyway. No, I'm still gonna eat.
Big Mac isn't food. Why would you
It's
say
really
Big
not.
Mac?
I know it's really
It's
not.
like saying rocks and dirt.
Yeah, except rocks and dirt are more natural.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There's a reason I waited for you to leave the house this morning before I cooked my eggs and toast.
I think it's interesting that you chose to eat a food. You made toast,
Mhm.
so you ate glyphosate. You ate what you were put. You literally put. It's like I need to stop putting bleach in my body. Oh look, Clorox. That's interesting that you chose that.
That's what my body called me to eat.
Is it what your body called you to, or was it a coping mechanism because it's a comfort food? Bread is a comfort food because it breaks down.
Oh, probably both. Yeah.
So I'm curious, what prevented you from using a healthier coping mechanism? And this is for anybody who's ever had any addictions, who is in any kind of recovery, because we all go through this. Michael just happened to go through it today.
So why did I go to it?
Mm-hmm. What prevented you from making a healthy decision? You know, what in you said, yes, I'm going to go for the bread as opposed to I'm going to go eat some broccoli.
Well, I knew that it would comfort me and satiate me and give me energy.
So here's a question. Do you have the coping skills to give yourself comfort without doing something outside of you?
Oh yeah.
Do you?
Absolutely.
So then why would you choose to not use it?
Because I've been using them for the past 6 days.
Did you think that you don't have the strength to continue doing it?
Oh no, I knew I did. The stress was at such a high level that I chose, very, very aware that I chose to break because the stress was just too high. Could I have fought through it? Yeah, of course. I could fight through anything.
I don't think fighting through stress is necessarily coping. I think fighting through stress is just more stressful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think, meditating through stress, breathing through stress, taking a walk through stress, reaching out to the warm line, which let me share that number real quick.
Oh yeah, those are all great coping mechanisms.
Hang on. I mean, you can still talk. I was talking to myself.
Those are great coping mechanisms in addition to the ones that I use. And I needed to work today.
Yeah.
I needed to work my 8-hour shift. I didn't have time to apply those coping mechanisms. I needed to have the energy and the focus on work. And I had all this stress in my head and in my body and in my heart. And I'm like, I need something where I'm going to
You needed a fix.
Basically, yeah. Or I was going to lose it. I could have used self-coping mechanisms. And I needed to work. So I was like, I need to do something because I don't have time to self-soothe. So I looked outside of self.
It's interesting how we will, when we are trying to detox from anything, anything, drugs, pick a drug, caffeine, alcohol, sugar, pick a thing, to try to remove something, to detoxify from our life, to recover from that, right? To reclaim your healthy, well self before you became addicted to whatever it was, there's going to be discomfort. And then, it's oftentimes when I would stop drinking, I would stop drinking for however long. And I'd be like, whatever, because I don't have to drink, I'm fine. And then I would be like, this was a really crappy day, or it's Saturday and it's a really big party. There would be some reason for me to break and go ahead and take that drink. And sometimes it's only a shot. It's just a shot. It would be a fix, as opposed to me sitting with myself and reminding myself, like, Jane, you're going to have a great time at this party. you're loved, you're lovable, you're unique, whatever the words were that I needed to hear to soothe me so that I wouldn't need to go get that drink. You know, um, when it's like, it's also like if you're like super hungry and you haven't eaten and you go into the house or to the restaurant and you become ravenous, and now you just make like unhealthy decisions. You know, you just want to get it in as fast as you can. You don't, it's easier to pop something out of the pantry or pop it in the microwave than it is to like make a meal. And if I let my self-care go too long, then I don't have the time, the bandwidth, the patience, the energy to actually make that meal, or get me through that craving or get me through a hard time. I think that's where it's really interesting, because as we go through any type of purge and shift, detoxing, a loss, like there's a type of like a grief that goes with it. How uncomfortable is it if I don't eat the thing, or if I don't take the drink, or if I don't like the cigarette? How uncomfortable is it? Am I strong enough to get through that big discomfort and still do what I need to do and still show up for me? Like these are real life, I think, like real life challenges for like a ton of humans. So much so that many people don't even try to do anything like this. That many people don't even try to get better or try to quit a habit or try to recover, try to get healthier. I think it really prevents people from like stopping drinking or stopping alcohol, or same thing, smoking or drugs, or unfulfilling, unhealthy relationships that are just using up all of your sacred energy. What? What's that face?
I agree with you.
Yeah. I want to read what Mama Jane is sharing. She says, hang in there, Michael. It's a major challenge. She says, the stress and pressure you resort to, what comforts you the most. You don't think straight when you're hungry for comfort. Ooh, that's a big statement right there. That is so true. You don't think straight when you are hungry for comfort. That's so true. Like any kind of comfort. It's like if I were in a relationship with Michael and I just needed comfort, right? And he can't do it, right? He's cold. He seems heartless. These aren't true. He's always unavailable. He's always busy on a video game, or he's always busy climbing rocks, and he doesn't have any time for me, right? He has zero capacity for the comfort for me. At some point, I am going to get so hungry for it and I'm not going to be able to do it for myself, that I might reach out to some another source. And it might be drugs for me. It might be another relationship. It might be something outside of him for me to feel the comfort. Because we don't think straight, It's like I had a really bad day and something happened. And he's not there again. I'm going to go to the bar. I'm going to talk to this man at the bar. And then the relationship starts to fail.
So what does it really mean to be hungry for comfort? It seems to me that you're hungry for safety.
Mm-hmm. Or soothing. A crying baby isn't necessarily not feeling safe. It just may be really uncomfortable. Like for me, when I'm cold, that's one thing. When I'm physically cold, I need comfort. Like I need support, like that, right? And at some point, it may go into safety. Like I could lose my digits.
Mm-hmm. I think that the more uncomfortable one feels, the less safe they feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you start to feel uncomfortable.
When who? You, me, someone, anyone?
Anyone.
Okay.
I feel that when you start to feel uncomfortable, it starts to go towards safety. Like not feeling safe, not feeling balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling out of balance.
Yeah, I agree. Do y'all think comfort has a relationship with safety? when it comes to things like that, you don't think straight, like Mama Jane said, you don't think straight when you're hungry for comfort. You know, if I don't feel safe, you know, um, if I am being yelled at or hit, or someone takes away my shelter, or all my money disappeared, I'm not going to feel safe, and then I might make what seems to be irresponsible decisions. That's where um, I think addictions really, 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 really begin, is because many of us don't feel safe with our own emotions and thoughts. And so we soothe in unhealthy ways. I can't handle this. I don't feel safe with my thoughts. I don't feel safe with these emotions. I don't know how to let them out. I don't know how to feel them. I don't know how to move through them. I don't know how to be with them. And that's because everything is I. I can say that I don't feel safe if Michael's throwing things at me, because that wouldn't be safe. And there's a part, like, where's my responsibility in that? I wouldn't feel confident enough to block a thing or to walk out to find my own safety. Just expanding through all this, just talking about all this. Then Mama Jane says each person's ability to go through different stress or handle stress is different. Definitely. Definitely is. And hey Charles says, kudos for owning up to it instead of hiding it and doing it in secret. Yes, for
Thanks,
sure.
Charles.
Yes. Yeah, big props, man. What was that? I saw that.
I like making faces at
I know.
you.
Okay. Like,
Get
I don't
used
know
to
what that
it.
is. Oh. Yeah, and I think that's another thing. I think that it's kind of like, when you first started at the top of the hour and you're like, yeah, like I cracked on this cleanse, and I'm proud of it. That would be like, and then you're like, well, I'm not really proud of it, but you own up to it and you don't regret it. And I think that that's a great place to be, is not in that space of like beating up self, punishing self, being in regret, self-loathing, and starting to listen to those voices, but rather,
When I said I was proud of it, not to interrupt, but I'm interrupting. When I said I was proud of it, I meant I was proud of how I went through it without feeling like guilty or shame. That's what I meant by that.
I thought you were proud of yourself. I thought you were proud of yourself for admitting to it and sharing about it. Because we have a group.
I'm proud that I admitted it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it was the right thing to do.
So think about, say I have an addiction to alcohol, and that's my coping mechanism for my own discomfort that I can't handle. I can't process my feelings and emotions, so I tend to drink. And I've been without alcohol now for a few weeks, and then today I'm in like a group that are of people who are also like becoming alcohol free in their lifestyle. And then today I choose to drink, and I choose to drink like, not like crazy big time, but more than just like a serving, right? Because to me that's kind of like the equivalent to like eating the one thing of the one thing you're trying to cleanse out, right? So like drinking a little bit more than you probably would have, even if you didn't have a substance misuse challenge. So anyway, and then reaching out to the group and being like, or just being like, I drank today and I'm really proud of it. I'm so proud of myself. I drank. I did it. I broke. Like, I know that's not quite how you were sharing
Not
it.
Not at all.
And to share though, like, yeah, y'all, I did a thing. I did it. Then it's kind of like, was it done out of spite? Almost like, did I spitefully drink to spite myself, to prove that I can't stay committed to my own health and wellness, or to the group? I don't know. You can answer for you, but like, these are the questions that like I would ask me. Like, why did I do this? Like, why did I drink?
Totally.
Or why did I do the thing again?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that anything I did was spiteful. towards the group or towards myself.
Good.
And I wouldn't be proud of that. Try to never do something to anybody from a spiteful place.
Which totally goes along the theme of what I've been talking about this week. But you haven't caught any of it, have you? It's been good stuff. What?
I believe you.
It's been about like punishment and stuff like that. Mama Jane says irrational decisions that you regret later, but you can't control due to stress. Like, can we talk about that? You can't control. So, do we think that conscious decisions are uncontrollable? I think that there are unconscious and subconscious decisions that we are so unaware of that they feel like we are not in control. Oftentimes, I also feel like our ego self, as opposed to our higher self, does things that we feel almost like it's not controllable. Yeah, I went to pour that one drink. And then I blamed. I don't even know what happened. I ended up pouring 4, like we do this. Are they really not controllable? Hey, darling. Like, are they really not controllable? Or do we tell ourselves that they're not controllable because that is more soothing than recognizing that I actually made a conscious decision to do something that was hurtful to myself? Real talk. What do you think?
I was reading the comments.
I asked Michael if he was going to pay attention before we turned on, because there was one time where he was just staring out the window and he wasn't present, and he was like, I will be.
I'm always present. I was present with the comments.
Do you want to share them then?
Sure. You left off. Okay.
And then or do you want to reread the one that I just shared and tell me your thoughts on that?
Sure. Jane Ritz said, rational decisions that you regret later, but you can't control due to stress. That's what I said.
I thought you said rational. My bad.
No.
Okay, my bad.
But yeah, I think that you can control any decision that you make consciously.
Whether they're rational or not?
Yeah, I think to say I didn't have control of that decision is because you don't want to blame yourself. You want to blame the lack of control and not the decision that you made to do the thing. Yeah.
I think that that's definitely that's a valid point. And, I think that I think oftentimes many of us, myself included, are like, oh, I couldn't control it. No, I couldn't do anything about it. Nah. And then when I look back, I'm like, I chose every single thing I've ever done. Every single thing I've put in my body, for the most part, has been a conscious decision. And I may regret it, like Mama Jane says, that I may regret. And then I remember that, I try to not live with regret. I try to remember that everything is a gift and a learning experience and an opportunity. So I go back and I'm like, what did I learn from that? Okay. I feel better now. But every single thing that I've decided has been like my decision, Then Mama Jane says, if you falter, don't beat yourself up or let others make you feel guilty. Get back up on the horse and go forward, she says. Yes. Yeah, because how easy would it be, though, right? To be like, and if anybody's ever had any addictions, this may resonate for you, where you have been doing really well and you mess up, say you're a chronic liar and you've been telling the truth, right? You've been doing it. You've been telling the truth. You got this. And then you lie. And you're like, oh God, I'm a failure. And then you start lying again all over the place. it would be like if Michael broke this cleanse today and continued and like ordered Domino's and was like, F this noise, I'm not doing it anymore, and just like threw it all away. I think that's a huge testament to what we can control with our own behavior, and not create situations or thoughts that make us feel more discomfort. Because like if I'm going to beat myself up for something, I'm going to make myself more uncomfortable. I'm going to create more stress. If I'm more stressed, what am I going to want to do? Go back to the thing I was addicted to. So like, chunk of hair in my face. My hair looks so much bigger whenever I'm near you, I think.
Why do you think that is?
Because you don't have any.
On my head.
Obviously.
I got it everywhere else.
Obviously.
Even on my butt.
Yes, you do. The end. Okay, bye. But yeah, like, I've been talking this week about like grumble butts. I talked about grumble butts today in our creative time together. I talked a lot about punishment, and oftentimes, we will do things and we mess up and we don't own up to it. We hide it, or we continue to mess up. We fall off the wagon, we stay off the wagon, we continue doing the thing that put us on the wagon in the first place. And then we start to really beat ourselves up. And, I know in my relationships, I have definitely beat myself up. And I can only imagine how annoying it is for my partner.
What are you doing?
Yawning. I don't know. I needed oxygen. For my partner, if I'm like, oh, I failed. I'm a failure. I suck. I'm awful. You don't even want to be with me because look how bad I am. How does or would that feel to you if I did that? Like if I broke the cleanse, okay, and I was telling you, hey, I feel really bad about it. Okay, that's one thing. But if I got kind of like grumble butt about it, right, and I just wouldn't drop it, I just like continually sharing with you the punishment that I was giving myself.
Yeah, I'd probably tell you like it's okay. You don't need to punish yourself. You're human.
But I messed up, Michael. I failed.
And I could not be around somebody for very long that does that.
So it only took you like a second, and you were like, you were out just then.
No.
You were literally.
I'm just saying, over the span of time, like if that was your personality, we wouldn't have been together as long as we were.
But I have done that in our relationship.
I mean, everybody does it to some degree. But the example you just gave was like very dire, like really beating yourself up over something.
Yeah.
And I mean, you have done that. I have done that.
Yeah.
Point being, if there are people that do that all the time. There are people in our lives. Well, I can't speak for everybody, but I would assume there's people in everybody's lives that are always down, always have something negative to say, especially about themselves. And after a while, that starts to drag. It drags on me. I'm around those people for too long.
Well, yeah. It's just that they're grumble butts.
Mm-hmm.
Being around a grumble butt stinks. Talked about that. You might like the creativity and the expansions.
I can't watch the creativity.
Oh yeah, you're not on the Facebook anymore.
Yeah.
Where you can watch expansions.
Mm-hmm.
You might like it. Like, it's kind of like that. Like Michael used to watch all the stuff that I did. Like super sweet. He would tune in live and he would catch it on a replay, and we would talk about it, and it was really nice because I was like, he actually is interested. Like it was really flattering and stuff for me. And he doesn't do it all. Like he just doesn't do it anymore. Occasionally you do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because depending on the day that I even think about it or we talk about it, like sometimes it like I feel like he doesn't like me. He's not interested in what I'm doing. He doesn't care. All these things, and then I can go down this rabbit hole of punishing myself, like, which is basically just like negative self-talk. And then that turns into internal stress, lack of comfort. And then I need to soothe this comfort. So it's going to go to like food or drugs or alcohol or whatever, you know, like, are you reading? Or are you listening?
I started reading. I'm listening now.
And then other days when I think about like today, like he doesn't really listen to or watch anything that I do anymore. It's like, whatever, and I become very like disconnected from him in that, which I think is a form of almost an unintentional punishment to him now that I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, if you don't care about what I'm doing, I don't care about what you're doing. Go climb a rock. I don't care. Do I want to go and watch? Nope.
Have you ever stopped
or like whatever,
Have you ever stopped to ask why I don't watch your things anymore?
We've talked about it.
Have we?
Yeah, you said that you don't like hearing my voice anymore and you'd rather shut me up.
No, I don't think you ever asked.
That's what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's the reason?
I simply just don't have the space for it anymore. Back when COVID started and you started doing these classes, the type of work that I was doing at work allowed me to listen to or watch videos while I was working, because I could just sit and work on a map or sit and work on a point cloud. And now the point that I'm at work, the tasks that I do, I'm always bouncing around, helping somebody here, helping somebody there. I'm not actually doing the work anymore, but I'm setting up the work for others, responding to emails, taking phone calls. Like I just did a presentation today. I'm in meetings. I literally don't have the space to sit and listen anymore. The last time I tried to listen, like to everything you did, was about 2 months ago at work. And literally every time I turned the thing on to listen to it, like I was listening to a recording, I'd say within 2 minutes, somebody would be coming over. Hey, can you come help me? Or somebody would be calling me. All right, let me pause it, talk to this person, go back to work. 10 minutes later, oh, damn it, I forgot to unpause it. Unpause. Yes, I can listen now. Less than 5 minutes later, I'm getting a call from somebody else. It's like I'm literally in a space now where I don't have the space or time to listen anymore. And then when I do have that space, when would that be? When I'm at home? When we're together? That's about it. And then in that space, I want to hang out with you. I don't want to listen to a recording of you that you did in the past now. I want to hang out with the present Jane. I'm not going to be like, just hold on for an hour. I'm going to go listen to you talk from yesterday, and then I'll come back and we'll hang out for the rest of the night. Like,
I know, that's silly.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad you mentioned that, because, a lot of the things that not just I share, but like I feel like all of Promise Resource Network shares is like how to have like self-soothing skills, different tools to stay in your own lane, to stay in your health, in your wellness, and your that focus and that the wellness path. And I feel that like because so many people have gone back to like work that or change, or their work has changed or shifted, right? It's more in real life now, whatever. That a lot of people aren't using as much of the resources and tools for their own wellness. I think a lot more people are like backsliding, for lack of a better word. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not taking the time. It's like, oh, now I'm too busy, I can't. It's like we had 2020, we had COVIDicus season to give us this space to like pause and be and reconnect with ourselves and each other and close loved ones and this and that. And I'm not saying you're the only one. I think many of us, I'm included. I'm just too busy. I'm just busy. We're just busy now. We're busy now, And so then we get under more stress, and what do? We fall off the wagon, because the stress is built up so much that it's like I can't manage it now. It's too much. Now let me go get that drink or smoke that pipe or eat that bread, What? What?
I find it really funny that you compare eating bread to smoking crack and drinking alcohol.
I didn't say crack, I said a pipe.
Oh.
1. 2, food is an addiction, especially things that are sugar based or breaks down into sugar. It energetically and physiologically is in the same, does the same things to your brain and in your gut.
Okay.
The only difference is that it's way more socially acceptable to go binge eat or binge drink than it is to, binge out on heroin.
That makes sense.
That's why the sugar industry and the alcohol industry are so big, and that's why all of the pharmaceuticals are made to basically support those who have lived a life with too much alcohol and too much food/sugar. That's how our system is set up. It is a real life addiction that we are conditioned to fall into without even being aware, even from a young age. I mean, marketing sugar all the time to kids. Looks like he's leaving, doesn't it? But so yeah, I think it is. I mean, it may sound funny, but you're also talking to a girl that was morbidly obese and had a really hard time with a binge eating disorder. So I mean, I think it's fun that people can laugh at those types of addictions, but if you've never had it, I wouldn't necessarily think that making fun of it is something that's kind.
Do you think that I'm making fun of it?
You just laughed at it. And you're like, you put it in the same category as these things. Yeah.
You can get addicted to anything.
Yes, you can get addicted to breathing.
You can literally be addicted to anything.
Well, of course.
I just found it funny that you were comparing eating food to
not just food.
Something that actually is literally doing direct major harm to your body.
Sugar does major direct harm to the body. So does alcohol. Small doses. It's like, marijuana, psilocybins, LSD, pick a lot of more, DMT. You think about, ayahuasca, all these other ceremonial medicines, none of them are eat a lot of sugar beforehand because it's going to make your journey better. No, they even tell you stay away from it because it clouds your higher self. It clouds the brain. It clouds the human, just like alcohol does. I think that sugar is an addiction that is way more serious than our society even gives credit to. And then that's the thing that we tend to go to soothe in our I just read what Charles wrote. I think that it's our conditioned go-to. Oh, what do you're sad here, let's have some cake. Oh, you're not feeling good, let's have some pizza. And not let me just feed you to make you feel better. As opposed to, you're feeling sad, let's talk about your feelings. Let me hold space so you can feel them. That's not what our culture is designed as. What?
Yeah, that doesn't compute.
I know.
Who says that?
What?
Let me hold space for you. How are you feeling? Let's talk about your feelings.
Yeah, and I do it all day with kids.
Yeah. And
so then when I get home, like when I say I've had a full day, I have. Holding space for children and adults, whoever's there, to feel their feelings and also make sure that the way that they express them is safe and with grace, so that it doesn't infringe upon any other's physical beings or any physical property. Yeah. Adults weren't taught that. Very few. So very few. And so then, we adults have a hard day and we don't know how to cope. We don't know how to talk to our partner and be like, hey, I had a really crappy day. And not in a grumble butt way. If you want to know what I'm talking about, watch the 10 o'clock creative time with me. But it's different than being oh, grumble, I just had a bad day. So-and-so said this is what happened. They said this and they did that. Grumble. Not like that. But I'm feeling really frustrated because when this person said something, it brought this up for me that just doesn't sit well, and being able to talk about it like that with partnership or with anybody, we're not taught how to do that. Bugs me that we're not. What was that?
You just said bugs and it made me think of our experience right before this.
Oh, we'll share about that in a moment.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Okay, then I'll share about it. You can witness. Charles says, you had a chance My experience, people that do that are fishing for compliments because they've been trained by the system and that's how they can get them. Yeah, the ones that are like, oh, the woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. And then it's like enough times of someone over soothing, it's kind of like, oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And then you're like, okay, then that becomes their addiction. The payoff that they get from grumbling so much until they get the soothing from someone else, that becomes their addiction.
I feel like I've said that to you in many instances.
Like what?
Something along the lines of like, I'm not going to soothe you here because I feel like it's going to propagate this insecurity or whatever.
My discomfort.
Discomfort, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And some things I definitely I'm like, yeah, okay, you're right, that sucks.
Yeah, because there's certain things that you have to learn how to deal with the discomfort from within, and not look outside self to soothe that discomfort.
Totally. And I also think that there are some things when it's like, say you have habitually lied or something like that. And I'm like, no, I need to know the truth right now. And, and if your response is, I'm not telling you anything. I don't want to soothe you because you feel insecure. Well, if you've been habitually lying to me in this example, but yeah, I need you to tell the truth because we're trying to rebuild something. You know what I mean? So, I can see, or I could see, Michael, I need you to tell me you love me every day. You have to tell me you love me. And then I won't feel love unless he tells me that. Then it becomes unhealthy, and then he would just be feeding my own insecurities or my own discomfort. I think having these honest conversations where it's like, if Michael feels like, or if I feel like I might be just kind of feeding into something that may become addictive for you. I don't know. Do you feel that way? Can we talk about it? Maybe not in the moment of the experience, but afterward, I think that's where things can really have a light shined upon it. I like how Charles says, spoken like a lifelong skinny person. That's so true, Charles.
Something I said?
Yeah. When you were like, what, like you're comparing food to alcohol and drugs. Yes. Morbid obesity is one of the top killers in our country. And for someone who's never had any experience with it, especially firsthand, it's kind of like, that's why I like PRN, because it's peer support. I'm really grateful that I've been morbidly obese, had binge eating disorder, have had numerous unhealthy relationships with all types of substances, distractions, relationships, very unhealthy relationships, abuse, being the giver, the taker, like you name it. I've been there, and for someone that doesn't have experience, it really is, it can seem almost silly to be like, it's just food. Like, just don't eat that extra piece of cake. But that's like telling the person that's addicted to meth, just don't take that next hit. Just do a little bit. It's like someone that said, that's like, just play one video game and you're like 10 hours in and you just can't quit. It's like porn. It's like watching porn over and over and over again. You get that dopamine hit. Well, it's just masturbating. It's okay, right? Well, yes, masturbating is fine. And only being able to feel good after masturbating, after watching porn, if that's the addiction. Some people are addicted to sex. Other people laugh at that because they don't have any experience with that. It doesn't mean that it doesn't ruin lives and make things very hard for a human.
I see your point.
So
I could literally laugh at any comparison that you made to drugs and alcohol, and it could have offended somebody who's been addicted to whatever your example was.
Yeah.
And
I know, and a lot of people do say exactly what you said. I'm really glad you said it. Like, I'm really grateful that you said, like, well, you can be addicted to anything. Yes. And if I'm addicted to breathing, I'm addicted to love, I'm addicted to peace, I'm addicted to joy, I'm addicted to connection. Is that going to hurt me, or is it going to bring me more life force energy? Right?
Those things should bring you more life force energy.
Right.
As should eating food or having sex.
Or drinking alcohol. Drinking alcohol should bring us joy, right? There are alcohol ceremonies, tobacco ceremonies. Has been used in ceremonies by indigenous people for hundreds and 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 hundreds of years. And what we've done is we've made it into an addictive way.
Mhm.
So now it's like I can't do a tobacco ceremony because of my previous addictions with alcohol. Or I'm sorry, tobacco. So now I've like changed my like system to where I can't even take part in healthy ways. And if I do, like I'm really nervous about doing even a tobacco ceremony. I know I'd be safe and I know I'd be fine. And there's a part of me that feels trepidation around it. You know? Being in a polygamous relationship. I might find that really fun and enjoyable. We may really get a lot out of that and it might really build a healthy relationship. But because I've had enough trauma around non-communicated, non-consensual polygamous relationships, doesn't feel good. What?
Just listen to you. I had a thought way back there somewhere. Oh, you mentioned being addicted to like breathing or love or connection. I think any addiction is unhealthy. If you're addicted to breathing, you're like getting some type of chemical reaction because you're breathing. So one could potentially like literally breathe so much that like it makes their head woozy or they pass out. Same thing with connection. You might be addicted to connecting with people so much that like you become reliant on connecting with people that you try like so hard to connect with people that people are like, because you're literally trying to connect with everybody you see. Same thing with love. If you're addicted to love, that literally is like against the definition of love. Like love is given freely and love just is, and it has like a free flowing nature. You give it, you receive it, you accept it, and there's no like judgment or expectations around it. But once you start getting addicted to something, you have an expectation and you're trying to like get that dopamine hit, like you said. So I think no matter what it is that you're doing, if it's an addiction, it's unhealthy. Even if it is breathing love or connecting with people.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm saying like you can be addicted to anything. When people say that, like, yes, you can be addicted to air. Was the Buddha addicted to meditating? Was it an addiction? Was Jesus addicted to spreading the message of love? What's the difference between addiction and altruism at its fullest?
Who knows? I think a lot of what drives humans is addiction based.
I think many times, yeah, as opposed to an altruism based. I'm addicted to being a vessel of love. I'm addicted to it because whenever I do it, there's a payoff that's bigger than my body can even handle. It literally changes my frequency, But like with any addiction, you can do it all the time, but then you no longer are doing the thing because there's no time of the pause and the bask and the reflection and the changing and the moving through it. It's like I can be addicted to alcohol and I can literally wake up and start drinking and not stop until I pass out. Right? Or I can be a functioning alcoholic. Is one worse than the other? No worse, no better. Want to say hey to Roberta who's joining us. So addiction, she says, so addiction is too much of a good thing. She says, I think you're right, Michael. Yeah, altruism versus addiction. There's I think a fine line.
Sounds like a good book title.
Right?
You did want to write a book, didn't you?
I want to write so many books. I just haven't had the space. When I sit down to write, I'm always like, what do I write about? But if I can remember this stuff, like if someone like says, if someone gave me all the topics, altruism versus addiction, yeah, I can just write a whole bunch about it. I can talk a lot about it. Somebody could just record me and make it into a book. That'd be great. I know that that's a thing. I do. I know it's a thing. I don't have the bandwidth to figure it out. True story. But like, there's no hard stops, I think, on like there are no hard lines, I think, between like addiction and altruism. There's no like, well, if you have had a problem with drinking, you could never drink again. Maybe you can. And maybe you can have a glass of wine here and there. Maybe you can. Maybe you can't. And it's like I can be altruistic and giving, and oh, it feels so good, and there's this payoff because I feel good when I give, and and then we can become addicted, right? To where if I don't give, then I feel bad. Then we're no longer living in altruism, we're living in addiction. Altruism is going to feel good no matter what, whether I'm doing it or not. It's just when I do it, it feels good. Addiction only feels good if I do it. If anyone has ever had an addiction to porn, then that then when you have a sexual experience with a human, that it is not the same as maybe the year that you've been watching porn and masturbating by yourself like that and getting off on very unrealistic images and imagery, and then when you have a real live human in front of you, it's not the same. It's just not, yeah, everyone thinks one size fits all. Definitely not true. Roberta says. I said definitely not true. She said respect. But yeah, I think that, we can call the warm line again. If you are having moments where you might break, you might fall off the wagon, you might relapse, you feel that you're on the edge of your seat and you want to turn on the porn again, or you want to call that abusive relationship again, or you want to eat that cake again, or you want to open up that bottle again. Like you want to do it, you feel it because you're pissed off and things aren't going right, your stress is maxed out and you don't know what to do. Call the warm line first. Just call the warm line and be like, hey, I'm having a really hard time and I want to break my commitment to my own life and wellness. I was reclaiming myself. I was learning about myself. I hit a really hard wall. I hit a stop and I'm ready to break. Call the warm line. Just have somebody be your witness, because having that is medicine. Having someone to talk to, just for them to hear you without any judgment, without them telling you, well, you should drink or you shouldn't drink, but just saying, yeah, thank you for calling. And like, I can tell you my experience, whatever it is that they say on the other end of the line, call the warm line. It's what it's there for. The number is 833-390-7728. It's totally free, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like, I can't imagine like having your experience today, like if, right, and you weren't supposed to, so not like you should have, but what if you would have called the warm line during that time? In the time that you took to make this breakfast, if you would have taken that time to call the warm line, how do you think that maybe would have changed anything? Or do you think it would have changed anything?
Of course it would change something.
How do you think
I would
that
have had
would
less calories in my body. Also,
that would be like saying I would have less alcohol in my body. Yeah. You're right.
So I think that it would have been soothing to be able basically to vent my frustrations to somebody, just to get it out there, to get out some of the stress back to a manageable level so I can go about my workday.
Yeah.
It may have worked, it may not have.
Mm-hmm. Which, if you do call the warm line and you just want to vent, just tell them, hey, I just need to vent. Like, and I say that not just for the warm line, but for any human. Like, if you need to vent, even if it's to your partner or to your parent or a friend or a coworker, please warn them.
Yes.
If you need to vent.
Heads up is greatly appreciated.
It really is.
Just like if you want to yell.
Yeah.
A heads up will be great before you yell in the house and the other person doesn't know you're going to do it.
So true. I freaked someone out really big one time. Yeah. But if you need to vent, you need to vent, and that's totally good. Get almost consent, like give out a warning shot. I need to vent. May I vent to you? And if someone says no, because they may be having their own moment, They may not be able to handle that. They may not be able to hold space. It may break them down. And you don't want to do that. Right? We don't want to be unsafe for anyone, no matter who we are. But to be able to walk into the home or wherever you are, to call the warm line, be like, I need to vent. You ready? Because someone may be like, yeah, bring it. And now they have all their energy barriers up. Their heart is sending you love, and they're looking at you with so much grace. But if you come in and you just start yelling and venting about all the stuff and you are being the grumble butt, then they don't know what's happening. They may think that you are yelling at them.
Mm-hmm.
They may feel afraid. They may shut down. They may go into their own addictive behaviors because they don't feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
So please ask for consent or just give a heads up. Call the warm line whenever you need and just be like, hey, I need to vent. You down with that? You ready for this? I want to read what Roberta's sharing. Yeah, you're right about the porn, she says. One of my family friends' significant other left them due to them not feeling like they needed AA, and their significant other convinced that they can never stop AA. Huh, interesting. Huh. Interesting. Mama Jane says probably didn't enter his mind due to not thinking you were straight.
Got
Yeah.
that right.
Yeah. Well, we forget, we forget the tools. Back to the top of the hour, I think Mama Jane had said something about like, we make irrational decisions, when we're in heightened emotional states because we haven't solidified and anchored in tools of wellness. No judgment on that, but we haven't anchored them into our well-being. It's like my habit, every time I get in my car, I put my seatbelt on. I just do. I can't not. It's on, So like anchoring in ways of being that says, I am feeling a way. I'm going to name it. I'm going to acknowledge it. Now, what do I need to do with it? Do I need to be alone with it? Do I need to compartmentalize it to get me through this now moment? Do I need to reach out for support? Or do I need to get a fix so that I can just feel better? Just to get me through. Do I need to just take a little hit? I just need a little hit so I can feel better. Whatever that is, no judgment on that. And being aware that we have so many tools, we just forget, I think, how to use them. Oop. Put that back up. Let's see. Mama Jane's asking, is this cleanse the first for both of you? For both of us together, for sure. This is my first one that is this structured. I've done one before. It was 30 days. All I ate was fruit, veggies, nuts, and beans. This doesn't have nuts or beans. It's just fruits and vegetables and a lot of like healthy supplements so that like we maintain muscle mass. Like neither of us are losing muscle mass. Have you noticed that?
Fingers crossed.
You won't. Because of all the amino acids, like literally. So, and we're doing it together. Brilliant. Just brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. That's why this morning I was like, I don't know if Michael's going to be on here tonight or not. I don't even know. No telling. I don't know. So thanks for being on here with me. Yeah. Thanks for sticking to this commitment.
Thanks for having me on here.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for showing up. Now we get to go. Date night turned into plumbing night. We're either going to, Mom says all the emotion, feeling, stress are new. Yeah, hang in there. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We're doing this thing and it's bringing up all the things that we have been covering with habitual self-soothing ways. Like the other night I got home and I immediately went to the cabinet. What? I'm not hungry. Oh God, it's a habit. When I was stressed, I wanted to eat. I'm like, oh my God. What?
That just made me think of when I got off the social media about 2 months ago. Literally every time I picked up my phone for 2 weeks, even if I wasn't going on there for Facebook, I would click on the icon because I was addicted to that little hit I got every time I went on it.
Yeah.
Just like you coming home and going into the cabinet. So just look for a little snack.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
habit.
It's just a toxic habit.
Toxic habit.
That needs to be cleansed.
Yeah. So if anyone's interested in doing this cleanse with us, let me know. I'm I really am grooving on the company that creates all the products. They're very good, very natural, very organic, very healthy. And be ready to cleanse what you don't need. So we're gonna go deal with some plumbing now for date night. That sounded so sexual,
Did.
and it's not at all.
I've already checked your pipes, so.
You tried to, and the snake wouldn't go in there.
Yeah, it wouldn't.
It wouldn't. The snake wouldn't go in, y'all. It was like kept hitting, and I was like, no. So he's gonna try to go on the roof, go from the top.
Yeah.
Anyway, send good wishes that seriously the clog in the main line gets rectified, not rectified. Anyway, no, Mom, you're not sending drumsticks. That's what we're cleansing out. I love you. I love you all so much. Thank you all for being here. Enjoy the rest of your night. You'll say bye.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks for tuning in.
See you.
See you later, alligators.
Adios.
Bye.